And I'll tell you what, sports sedans always turn it on. A great mixture of vehicles. We've got Commodores, Mazdas, Jaguars, even Saab. The old, I suppose, heavy-duty Chevrolet Power is probably the most popular engine in these sports sedans, but it's anything goes with big tyres, lots of rubber. But look at this on pole position from Western Australia, Tony Ricciardello. Beside him, Kerry Bailey in that lovely Honda Prelude, and beside him is Keith Carling from New South Wales. So they're the first three.
Well, it certainly is a sensational class of racing. Over 600 horsepower, big wings, and very fast cars. Ricciardello is only 20 or 21 years of age, and he's already won one Australian Sports Sedan Championship and is on his way to 2 in a row. Down the Continental Tyres main straight now and into the Caterpillar curve first time.
Well, you can see lots of horsepower, Nathan. Oh, hang on a minute. We've got cars going everywhere. Cars spinning. We've got Jeff Barnes in that Mobil sponsored. It looks like a house brick. I tell you what, Jaguar, Mark Trenoweth. That's a lovely motor car with a huge horsepower motor. Mark's been racing sports sedans for a long time. But on board, we've got Peter O'Brien in the O'Brien Aluminium Commodore. And have a look at this. You can just see how hard that Peter's working to keep this car, at this point, with cold tyres in the straight line position.
Well, Tony the Tornado, look at the gap he's already made on the field. He's absolutely driven away from Bailey. Bailey's in a new car. Now, Kerry has been a sports sedan champion before, but you might not recognise him in the Honda Prelude. He used to run a Toyota Supra, which we've seen at Oran Park a number of times, but he stepped up to the new car and seems to be doing well for him, Luffy.
Well, he sure has. I've raced against Kerry many times. He's a tough, very tough competitor. They call him the Pouch Man. And that's another story that we'll tell you another time. But look at this. Under hard brakes, Keith Carling in this new Mazda RX-7. Now, it's a brand new motor car. We've seen it at Oran Park. And for a first time out at Oran Park, the car did exceptionally well. The Jamison Falcon. Now that is a very, very special motor car. Lots of horsepower. Hewland transaxle in the back. That means the transaxle is differential and transmission in the back section, which gives the car an exceptionally good weight balance.
Well, listen to the noise that this thing makes. Peter O'Brien, small block Chevy, and listen to the RPM.
Well, lots of revs. I tell you what, you can hear it on board. But this Carling car, I'm very impressed with the way it's put together. The workmanship is very spectacular. But the man out in front, Ricciardello, all the way from Western Australia, in once again another K&A engineering car. In fact, the first two cars are built by K&A Engineering, which is a South Australian company.
Actually, the first three as well. Mick Monterosso's Escort has also had some work from K&A, so they're obviously the name to go to when it comes to sports sedans.
Well, it is. I didn't recognise the Monterosso car there with the new paint job, and yes, that car's been around for a long time, and another one, the Chev Power in a little Ford Escort, and it works very well.
There's Ivan Mikak on screen in the Mazda RX-7. Another way to do it. That's the beauty of sports sedan racing, is not only the variety of cars, but you can make power pretty much however you want. We've got Chevy Power 1, 2 and 3, but fourth in the beautiful RX-7 of Carling as I think a triple rotor, a 20B or something. Big power, just a different way to make it.
Well, how you make the horsepower, it doesn't make any difference, but you've got to get it to the ground. And you can see these cars absolutely bouncing around. The Jamison car, sponsored by Briffa Smash Repairs. They're a place in Sydney, and they get a lot of work with people that I suppose get out and get too enthusiastic on the roads. But enthusiasm, this man here, Kerry Bailey in the Honda Prelude, a very fast car. In fact, it used to be owned by Greg Crick, and then it went up to Queensland for a while to a new owner up there, and now it's sort of come towards, I suppose, sort of a new place here. But Bailey has got a new car under construction, we believe, and it's supposed to be hitting the tracks any time in the near future.
Well, you've got to absolutely love these cars. They are super fast, and just look at Ricciardello move it around. He's a young lad, and he certainly is a tough driver, as Jamison makes a move on Carling to move himself up to fourth place. Now, Carling's car is absolutely beautiful. It's only new to the racetrack, and maybe he's still got a bit of work to do, but it qualified well into third, but slipping back through the field, unfortunately.
Well, I can't believe Jamison. He's the mover and shaker. He's taken the big handful of Angry tablets, and Barry comes from the south coast of Sydney, and has a lot to do with the timber industry, but when he gets behind the wheel of this big Falcon, he grows horns, and I tell you what, this car is working exceptionally well. Have a look at how flat it sits on the roadway.
It certainly does. Des Walls also got through on Carling. He's also been a former Australian Sports Sedan champion and was actually quite dominant at Oran Park for many a year in this Supra. He was pretty much unbeatable between himself and Bob Jolly. They were the two names to watch. Now we've got a lot of new faces, in the Australian Sports Sedan Championship is certainly growing. Oh, look at this under brakes. No, round we go, and Lee Nicol has just found himself facing the wrong way.
Well, that's how easy it is when you get on the power or come in a little bit late on the brakes. You can see he's come in there incredibly hot. And listen to the horsepower It looks like an LC Tirana, an early model Tirana with a big power plant. Now look at this, Jeff Barnes in the wedge. It looks like a wedge. The nose is down, the back is up with that big wing. And Jeff Barnes has raced all sorts of sports sedans. He's been around for years. He's what we call the happy chappy of racing. I've never seen Barnesy without a smile on his dial, and he'd have a smile in that helmet at the moment saying, I love these big horsepower cars, and it's great to see Barnesy back.
Well, the Pacific Performance Ford is also doing a good job trying to have a look up the inside. Both these cars from Queensland, so they make the trip down from Brisbane for the long drive all the way to South Australia. Speaking of long drives, Ricciardello's made it worth his while to lead it on the last lap all the way from WA. And this car certainly now coming under a bit of pressure from the prelude of Bailey, but I don't think he'll be able to do too much with it.
Well, the Ricciardello car works exceptionally well. It jumps out of the corners. It's got big horsepower, as we said. Beautifully built. Look at the size of the wing sitting up there, but you can see the front end of the car absolutely pushing, but he's covering the line, and that's great racecraft.
He certainly is using all of the racetrack. He dropped the wheel in the dirt there, and he's pushing it hard. You've got to be so careful on the power out of these tight turns. They just make over 500 foot-pounds of torque, and there's no dramas with smoking the rear tyres and spinning the car around, swapping ends. There's Monterosso third, Jamieson fourth, and Wall fifth. They're really all starting to come into this third-place battle. Wall with a look up the inside, but he's not close enough.
Well, Des Wall normally drives bulldozers and big tractors. Wall Excavation Services on the side of the Supra. The ex-Brian Thompson car, but coming across the strike, it is Tony Ricciardello in first place, closely followed by Kerry Bailey and Mick Monterosso. Nathan Prendergast caught up with Tony Ricciardello after the race. Let's hear what they had to say.
The car was going good. I was just being very cautious with the oil all over the track. It wasn't for points this race, so next race is for Sheep Station, so we'll be going hard as we can.
You want your second championship?
Yeah, definitely.
This car is an absolute weapon. How much horsepower? What are we talking here?
Probably around 650 horsepower with around 540 foot-pound of torque, so a lot of power there.